So it is the night before Christmas, and I'm hoping that Father Christmas will pop by at any moment, because I've definitely been a good boy this year, and no trackers know what I've been doing. Well, that's the theory anyway with NoTrack. Anyway, this is the subject of the video I wanted to talk about: spying, tracking in Linux and free open source applications, because much of the focus that I've been doing on Linux distributions, say got the likes of Zorin and Deepin, is where they've actually been doing the tracking and have then had to change their behavior after a light has been shone on them. But I would actually like to look at some other Linux distributions that don't actually do any of that behavior, and actually shine a light on them and say they don't do anything. They are free open source applications that let you do what you want on your system, and they don't care what you're doing. And I think that would actually be a good positive thing, and one of the first ones I want to look at is Linux Mint, because they've actually said they don't want to do any of this data tracking, analytics stuff. Anyway, I thought a good place to start would be my own application, NoTrack. So it would be pretty ironic if I did any sort of tracking in this, and I don't. Although I will show you some points where there is data shared my way. But it is data that you willingly share. And I'll come to all these parts. And there's a section I wanted to talk about, the alerts, which is also called analytics. Now, generally, when you see that term analytics, you'll probably think, oh, my data is going off to somewhere else to be analysed. But no, in the case of NoTrack, it is analysing your data on your system. All I have for running NoTrack is a couple of Raspberry Pis. They're not going to do massive data processing. Anyway, I'm going to show you all the code. And look, if anyone wants to do an audit of the code, I will welcome that, because it is all open source. And you're free to look at it. I'll go into the explanation now. So NoTrack is a network-wide DNS server which you run on your own network and has the capability to block tracking and advert domains. This is the main admin interface, and we have a number of pages that go with it. So the analytics, which I want to talk about. There's the live page, which shows you the current queries that are being made. And it logs all your network traffic. And this is only on your system for you to view. If you see a particular domain in this list which you think that shouldn't have been accessed, say, well, in this example here, networkcheck.kd.org, I can look a bit more information about it, see how active it is. And well, I'll tell you what, KD don't like doing a lot of network checking, but in this case, it is all HTTP, it's clear text, you can see exactly what is going on. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. What I wanted to show was you have the ability to block it. But not only that, you have the ability to report it as well. So I think that is really suspicious. I'm going to report it, and that goes across to my website. And I can see a few sites which have recently been reported. A part which I haven't shown before is the back end. What happens when all these sites are submitted? So I have a database of the submissions and the time that they were made. That's my one there, networkcheck.kd.org. And that is all that is recorded. I don't know who made that submission. I don't really care who made that submission, but I can go on here and I can approve, delete, I can do a bit more research about it. The data here is from OpenDNS, so I get to see the volume stats, the co-occurrences, so it just makes my job a bit easier when I'm trying to work out what a website actually is. That is all I see from a submission, and it's something you have to willingly do. You don't have to report anything. Don't have to use that button at all, and if you want to block something, you can just block it, goes on there. I don't need to know about it. I don't know about it at all. I don't want to block kd.org. Well, that's the side of where data is being willingly reported to me. The other side, the analytics side, this is the automated processing that NoTrack does. And the file which carries out that work is a bash script called ntrkanalytics.sh. There's nothing too much here which is worth discussing, but the actual part where we're looking at data. So we have a check-in of malware and a check-in of tracking domains. Focusing on, say, the tracking domains, it's doing SQL queries with the data stored in DNS log. So that's where all the DNS queries are stored in NoTrack. And it's looking for particular patterns in log time in the past 1 hour, and of data which has actually been allowed. So DNS result equals A is allowed. We also have result B for blocked and L for local, although that might expand a bit more in the future. Anything it finds, we go to this function called review results, which is just down here. Well, it reviews the data first just to extract the relevant parts. Then it goes to a function called insert data. So that inserts data into a SQL table, specifically the analytics table, and it inserts the values which it's just obtained from the DNS log table. So that's it. It's all processed on the one device. And the patterns which I'm looking for, now this will vary compared to previous versions. This is a new feature where it's just gone to the regex, but before it was just doing certain known patterns. But I have done some explanation here. So we've got, say, log as a subdomain, px or optional pxl as a subdomain, pixel followed by a certain character pattern, telemetry anywhere in the website. So yeah, it's just looking for known patterns which I've seen that could be associated with tracking and advertising that may have slipped through. But it gets reported back to you on this page, and you have the opportunity to either ignore it or do something about it. And I think one other script worthy of mentioning is the NoTrack upgrade, the ntrk upgrade.sh, which tries to utilize Git to clone the repository, or it will try and download if Git is not available. So it downloads via wget. Let me just try and find that relevant part of the file. Yeah, wget. It tries to download the zip file from GitLab. So that doesn't touch any of my infrastructure, and I would have to rely upon data from GitLab, which actually I don't really see a whole lot. So I thought that would be a good starting point, and I'll take a look at some Linux distributions very soon. Well, have yourself a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you all later.